And we're live.
Well, welcome to another episode of Building Your Wellness Brand Within Your Community. I'm Dr. Alan Weinstein with my co-host, Dr. Randi Ross. We have a special guest with us today, which I'll introduce in a moment. Today's episode is brought to you by Epic Consulting, making sure your electronic presence is all it needs to be, and Community Wellness Day. Every great opportunity begins with the first step. Take that step with Community Wellness Day. And the system, the official marketing program for healthcare practitioners everywhere, and the VIP app, the only application that allows you to bring your live events just like this one to the iPhone, iPad, Samsung, and desktop mobile devices. Today, we're talking about networking online in relationship marketing. Our special guest today is Wayne Kessler, founder of Kessler Marketing. Let me tell you a little bit about Wayne. Wayne Kessler and Kessler Marketing and Coaching is based in Boston, Mass. I'm in Massachusetts, just so I'm on the opposite side of the state, interestingly enough. And it provides coaching and outsourced marketing services worldwide. Wayne has been called a reverse internet magician for his ability to make the invisible online become visible. He helps small businesses get online and get found on the first page of Google search so they can start getting more phone calls and ultimately more business. He provides WordPress, website design, and of course, we always recommend WordPress, and development services, search engine marketing, press releases, website optimization, blog creation, copywriting, and social media setup and training. Wayne has a background as a licensed social worker, certified coach, specializing in ADHD coaching. That's interesting. Providing businesses, I think most marketers, Wayne, have ADHD. Providing business and life coaching for individuals, businesses, specializing on health and mental health practices and organizations. And with that said, let me turn it over to Dr. Randi Ross.
Well, thank you, Dr. Allen. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here again on our weekly hangout. And in a minute, we're going to introduce you to Wayne Kessler. And interestingly enough, Wayne and I have met and become friendly through online marketing. We met through LinkedIn, and every now and then you connect with someone, and then you speak with them, and it's like, wow, someone that thinks like me. It's not, other than Dr. Allen, sometimes that's hard for me to find. So I was really excited to hear that someone else that has a healthcare background is now doing everything they can to help healthcare providers be successful. His area of expertise is a little unique to who we usually work with, so I was really interested to see their perspective from the mental health practitioner's point of view of how to get things done and how to be successful and render care to people.
Well, welcome to another episode of Building Your Wellness Brand Within Your Community. I'm Dr.
That's my Facebook one always pops up on me.
Yeah, you got to shut it down.
Always. Okay, and we're back. All right. Well, I am going to go ahead and introduce Wayne, and we're going to have him share some of his years of knowledge and wisdom with us. Well, Wayne, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us here today. We appreciate that. And, the first question we always ask everyone kind of puts people on the spot a little bit, but, it's important for viewers to understand that don't know you and sometimes don't even know us when they're listening is, what really gives you the right to be considered an authority on, we'll say business development and in your area for healthcare providers that what is it about you and your knowledge that, people would come to you and consider you an authority?
Well, it's a good question, and I just wanted to first thank you, Randi and Dr. Allen, for inviting me on the show. So basically what gives me the right is I have over 20 years experience working with for-profits and non-profits around business development. So I served in a managerial role helping with program development, staff supervision, strategic planning. So I did that. I worked for 10 years with the American Red Cross as Director of Emergency Services, and then 10 years with Jewish Family and Children's Services as the Director of the Center for Family Assistance. So I have a lot of sort of hands-on experience Also, for the last 6 years, I have been doing coaching with practices, and these are health and mental health practices. And so I know, what the needs are in terms of a small business and getting small businesses up and running, and being sort of in the black. Uh, so that's what I've been sort of doing. I'm a certified coach, so uh, I've been sort of coaching individuals and small businesses on business development issues.
Well, I think that's interesting that you're probably a little unique in many of the people that we speak to, that not only do you have that, private small business knowledge, but you obviously bring that element of, a corporate structure like a Red Cross, which is a little bit of a unique business model to most small business owners, but probably adds some value. I want you to talk a little bit about, why you think it's so important. We've talked about this. Our whole thing is about, we call it relationship marketing and building relationships to build your business. But talk about it from an online perspective, why that's so important to professionals building their business.
Well, because I think that most people are spending some time online now. Whether you're doing research or just doing a Google search, people are on their computers, they're looking businesses up online, they're using their phones to get information, tablets. So people are really spending a good amount of their time online now as compared to years ago, when people got information mainly from books or newspapers, that type of thing. So it's important that any business have an online presence and be able to maximize that presence in this day and age.
And what are some suggestions that you have, or people that you work with, or I guess, what do you think the most effective places are for healthcare providers for online marketing and for connecting with potential patients and clients? Because you're an ADD expert, and I'm sure you know that this stuff can make you feel like you have ADD because you don't even know where to spend your time or where it's effective.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that we're pulled in so many different directions, and one of the first things that people say to me when I do my marketing coaching work with them is, geez, there's so many ways that I could market online, so many different websites, and where do I start? Okay, there's so many different marketing companies that call me up and they want to get me on the first page of a search, or somebody told them they should be on Facebook, and so you pulled in so many different directions. And basically what I do is I have a whole marketing survey that I do with people, and so I look at what people are comfortable with in terms of marketing. And health and mental health professionals are a special breed when it comes to marketing. They they don't like to toot their own horns. They would rather be seeing clients than sort of going out and doing marketing work, okay, which is sort of one of the last things that they want to do, or how they want to spend their time. But but online, there are many things that you can do that are very simple things that you could do. You should have a business page if you have a business. You can have a business page on LinkedIn, for example. Okay, so that's an online presence that you should have. Facebook, you can have a business page on Facebook. You don't have to necessarily be on it all the time, but just having a presence, filling out your profile of your business, putting a description of your business on Facebook is going to be helpful. And like you did, Dr. Randi, we met on LinkedIn, so I have a group on LinkedIn that I started, and so I have over 15,000 to 16,000 people in that group, and I can send a message to any person in that group. Okay, so if they signed on, so think of that, the reach that I have. starting a group. Now, you could certainly join a group. You could join up to 50 groups on LinkedIn. And if you think about this, if a group has, say, 3,000 or 5,000, or in my case, 15,000 people, and you can post discussion questions on that group. So if you're looking for resources, or if you just, you just want to say, hey, folks, I'm looking for a logo designer for my business. Who do you know that's a good logo designer? You can post that, and then 30 minutes later you could have 4 or 5 people responding to that saying, hey, use my logo designer, check out my logo, here's the person that created my logo. So it can be so valuable and such a time saver to use groups online. And you can network, like you and I. We were talking about sort of joint ventures, and I have several joint ventures that I've been involved with just in the last year. I did a mastermind series with somebody I met on LinkedIn. I'm doing a webinar / marketing certificate program starting Saturday with a group called Therapy Online in Canada. And I met them online. They attended one of my webinars, and they said, we love your marketing ideas, and we want you to create a program for us. So I'm doing a joint venture with this Therapy Online group, and they do online therapy. They have a portal where people can chat and email confidentially to do a therapy session. So we're doing something on marketing for private practitioners that they sign up. So you can write status updates on LinkedIn. You can send in-mails to people on LinkedIn. So if you're looking for staff, you can post jobs and even look for candidates online. So your thoughts on that? You folks have had experience with this type of thing, haven't you?
I always I use the social media type of marketing for me as a way to connect with people like Wayne, and last week we had a guest on, and others. And I kind of use it as a filter, and when I find people I connect with, then I take it to the next level, where like you and I have done, Wayne, where then we had a couple of phone conversations, and now we'll have you on the hangout, and we kind of continue to grow, this professional relationship we have. That's the way, from a business marketing perspective, I really find value in social media. The part about getting clients or patients from it is, I think, a little bit of a separate entity. But from my perspective, that's how I've used LinkedIn. Has actually been the most successful for me in that respect. But I think the important thing is always to remember that don't just have the online part of it. Use that as the initiation, and then continue the process either face-to-face with a camera, or I have to say some of the relationships that I've initiated this way, I've actually gone and met with people in person, whether they happen to be in my area or we were going to be at a similar conference or something like that. So I think that's really how to have that bigger impact when you're using these various social media platforms. And I'm sure Dr. Allen has something to say about this, so we'll let him jump in here. He's
thanks. I don't know if Wayne's monitoring the chat, but I do have you muted, Wayne, because the echo is on your end. So when next time you speak, you'll just have to unmute yourself. But before you do, let me ask a couple of things here, if you don't mind. I also have started some groups through my team on LinkedIn, and what we usually do is we usually set up a criteria. In other words, for people to join the group, they have to answer a questionnaire first, and that questionnaire qualifies them before they, or I should say disqualifies them before they could join our group. Do you do that type of stuff? So that would be my first question. The reason I'm asking is because you have 15,000 members, so my first thought is that if you are qualifying them, the hurdle may not be that tall to leap over. And I guess my question is, do you find that that is a good strategy for you to create some type of qualification or disqualifier before you let people join your group? Don't forget to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, so yeah, so my group is a closed group on LinkedIn. You can have open and closed groups. So for a couple of years, I screened everybody. Okay, but I find that and I do have to approve people for the group. Okay, and people have to agree to the terms that I have for them to be able to join the group. And we do monitor, okay, so everybody that poses a question or makes a comment, we monitor them. We have to approve it. Okay, so there is some checks and balances with my group. And if somebody is, violating the agreement, then I can either block them from participating or I can expel them basically from the group. So yes, I think you do need some checks and balances there. And I think having a form is a good strategy as well.
Yeah, what we really do, the reason that we developed that form as disqualifiers, because if you're part of the group, you have the ability to actually set up a consultation with us. And the reason we do it through that qualification is because they must be able to show that they have a certain income level as well as a certain desire to move their business to the next level. So the group becomes much smaller, but as you probably know, if you have it's easier to get, it's easier to get one client that pays you $100 than someone to pay you $10,000, but it takes a lot of clients to make up for that $10,000. So so we're really looking for. We always feel when we start a group, if we get 100 qualified leads that are in our demographic, so to speak, that even if we just go ahead and are able to engage and develop a joint venture relationship with 20 of those or 30 of those, then we have a substantial amount of good relationships because they're paying a lot of money to be part of our joint venture partnership. So that's why we go in that direction. The other question I have for you is, in developing these relationships, like you're doing this webinar for this group, a joint venture, where they're, I guess, inviting their people to your webinar. So and this is the way we do it also. So if you close any of those people, then they get a percentage of what that fee is, right? That's the standard that I think we all use to do that. So my question is, do you then, when you're building that relationship with somebody, talking about, well, I could do a webinar for you, and this is, if they decide to join my group, my program or whatever that might be, we'll share in the revenue. But do you then qualify the people that they bring to the event, or you let them qualify the people that they bring to the event?
Well, no, they qualify. Their people are already qualified because their people have been through their training program. Okay, so those are graduates of their online therapy program who now have practices and they need help with marketing. So it really, it's a win-win situation. They have, me to come in and to help them, market online. And these folks want to do well in their practice. They want to grow their practices. They want to have enough referrals, to be able to maintain the practice. So it's really, a nice synergy. And then, I have people that some of the clinicians I work with want to get involved with online therapy, and so I in turn will refer them to the folks in Canada for their training program, which is actually affiliated with the University of Toronto. So it's a 2-semester program, and so it's sort of a win-win. It's a nice synergy between the two organizations, and we're gonna probably do it for 2 different semesters. So we'll have this semester now starting Saturday, and then we'll have a semester starting in January. So it really is a win-win. But I like what you guys are doing, just in terms of having a niche. You set a niche. You want a certain demographic, and this is what I think clinicians often fail to do. Is they fail to do this planning, and they fail to say, who's my target population? Because if you're going to do marketing, you can't market to everybody. And people will say to me, well, I don't want to pin myself down to a certain target population because I want to be able to serve everybody. But the reality is you can't market to everybody. You have to be specific in terms of who you're marketing to. Now, I just started working with a woman who does postpartum depression work, and she says, well, I want to push that because I really like doing that work, but I don't want to rule out clients with anxiety, depression, other psychiatric issues. I want to be
bipolar.
Bipolar. I want to be able to serve everybody, and I say, okay, you can certainly serve everybody, but you have to be targeted in your outreach, and you have to have a specific plan, a marketing plan that says, how am I going to get 50 new clients that have postpartum depression? So now we're working on her strategic and business and marketing plan related to the postpartum depression clients, and that involves creating a letter to some local primary care docs, making phone calls, dropping off flyers for a group that she's starting. So you have to certainly do the brainstorming and the dreaming, but then you got to get down to the specifics of the marketing plan and have some accountability, because we can all, you talk about ADHD, we can all think of 100 things that we'd rather be doing. Okay, and we get distracted. We all get distracted easily because there's so many exciting things online to see, and we can be pulled in any different direction. We say, okay, that week just went by, and I know I was supposed to send letters out to these docs, but I just got so busy I didn't have time to do it. So
Absolutely.
do you hear that? Do you hear that often, where people will sort of make excuses and?
Well, I think that's true, and that was going to lead me to another question, but I want to just emphasize something you just said, which I think is very important. People have a tendency to believe that there's internet marketing or online marketing, and then there's other marketing, and they fail to recognize that marketing requires you do all those things. And in fact, based on what you said, I'm sure you already do this, so I'm not questioning that, and that is, there's nobody that's just going to be an online marketer, because if you want to build your brand recognition, you're going to need to write letters, make phone calls, make those connections, which Dr. Randi's strong suit is. It's all of it. It's all marketing. It's not like, oh, I'm going to have a web page, now I'm in business and I'm marketing, or I'm on Facebook and I'm marketing. Right. It's part of the whole package. You got to do all of it. And most people don't recognize that. They think it's only, well, I now have a Facebook page, I have a website. Where are all my clients? They miss the boat on that.
Yeah. So
I think that was a great point that you brought up. So my next question is, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Randi, and that is, I assume that your marketing program is one of a combination of 3 things. It's either we teach you how to do it, we do it with you, or we do it for you. In other words, there's those choices going on. So percentage-wise, when you get a client, and I can give you my numbers too, percentage-wise, what percentage of the people that you work with never get to the next step? In other words, because they have that shiny nickel syndrome, they're all over the place. They can't focus on what they need to do, or they don't sit down and write out who their target audience need to do to reach that target audience. They almost become analysis paralysis. They're literally, I know in I would say 50% of my clients don't get to the next level. They're so busy doing nothing. that they just can't get the thing off the ground. Do you find that with a lot of your people also?
Yeah, I mean, I think, a lot of times people will come to me because they try to do it themselves, and they know that, I'm a coach that specifically works on this stuff. And so initially they might come to me and they might say, geez, I want to learn, WordPress, and I want you to, help me make a website. And, the reality is they realize that they don't have the time, okay? That, they're not getting me the copy from all the pages that they need to write. And so then they just say, Wayne, you know something, can you just do this for me? Okay, so maybe 50% want to do it themselves. Maybe 10% get it done, and then the rest either say, this is too overwhelming, or Wayne, here you go, please do this for me so I can at least get it done. And so I always look to make sure that people know that this is a process. They need to do planning. They need to, that's sort of stage one, is the planning and being clear on what it is they need to do. And then they need to schedule time. So I have, coaching sessions every week or bi-weekly, and there's homework in between the sessions. So if somebody says, I'm going to write my bio page for my site, that's what they're focused on in that week, is that to write the bio page. And then they can send it to me, I revise it, or I do it for them, and then they revise it. So I think you're right. There is that paralysis. There's fear. What if I don't do it right? Or it's got to be perfect. You ever hear this, Randy? I'm sure you've heard this. It has to be perfect. So I'm spending time on it. I have to get this done. Do you see that, Randy?
They never get it done. One of the biggest things I see with people that that work with us with Community Wellness Day, community health program that we offer, is that right out of the box say, I have to have the greatest event. And I tell them, don't focus on that. I mean, mine is literally every week they have a task to do. Just do the task. It doesn't have to be the greatest event your town has ever seen the first time out. Just do an event. Because if you do an event, you're going to be better off 6 months from now than if you didn't do it, because it's not going to be the greatest thing you ever saw. So I think that a lot of it is focus and fear that they're going to be judged because it's not the greatest thing in the world. That's a lot what I see. I know Dr. Allen, what's funny is sometimes when I refer him someone, and the first thing they'd have to do is like send him a picture. Now I asked you for a picture and you emailed me a picture. It wasn't a big deal. Dr. Allen can tell you, we talk about clients that we share, so to speak, and 8 months later he still hasn't even received a picture. So,
Right.
it's always mind-boggling to me. Those are the little things. Writing a bio, you know what? That might even be a little challenging for me to get started and do, complete that, because, you're not sure exactly what you want to say. But, I always tell people the little things should be easy. At least get those done, Yeah. So I definitely see that. I think we all kind of see the same numbers. I guess what I want to kind of tie this up with in your thoughts and your experience is, what do you think the 3 action steps, if you had to tell people, here's the 3 action steps that I think you need to move in a direction that's going to enhance your success, what do you think those 3 things are that they need to know that they should be doing?
Well, I think the first thing, I think it's normal for people to want to do things themselves, and but I think they have to realize that your time is worth money, and the challenge here is that you're going to need to make an investment in your business if you want to be successful. And so the people that are most frustrated are the ones that try to do everything themselves. They try to be their own bookkeeper, and they try to be their own marketer, and they try to learn website development or give it to their nephew, who's in college, who's going to get their website done when he has free time.
No, or worse, they give it to their nephew who's 7 years old.
Right, who, He's probably very talented, but you know, this is your business, and your time is worth money. And you know, if you could have spent you know, 3 client hours worth, you know, whatever, $200 an hour, and you could have paid somebody $100 to get this task done. You know, do the math here. You know, I know a lot of the health professionals, and you know, not, they don't like the math part of the business, but you know, it's very simple math if you add these numbers up in terms of making an investment in yourself. And then, you know, the secondly would be, you know, getting help from a mentor, you know, a therapist, a coach, or a consultant, just to help you do some planning and to bounce ideas off of, and you know, to keep you motivated, because there's ups and downs with any business, and you need somebody who can be, you know, objective and tell you, you know, that's not a good idea. I mean, I just met with, you know, some clients just talking about planning, and you know, some of their ideas were great and revolutionary, and others were just, you know, bad ideas. And I had to tell them, no, that's a bad idea. That's going to cost you a lot of money, and you're not going to get anywhere with it. So just having somebody you could bounce things off of, you know, and not necessarily your spouse. You know, spouses can give good advice, but they can also harbor the fear, you know, the fear element, and say, you know, you shouldn't be spending money on that when, you know, maybe you need to make an investment. Okay, so you know, so get an objective help, and then, you know, the last thing I would say would be to schedule and plan whatever marketing, you know, efforts you decide on. Okay, so you know, Randi, you do this. You talk to people on a regular basis. I'm sure, Dr. Allen, you do the same thing. You know, I do it. I hold people accountable. I summarize after each coaching session. Okay, you're going to do this. I'm going to do this. You know, what's reasonable to expect in terms of when we're going to get this done. Okay, and so we're all clear on deliverables. Okay, so that way nobody could say, geez, I was supposed to do that. No, I do summaries after all my coaching sessions. I don't know if you folks do, but I want everybody to be clear on what we're supposed to do and when we're supposed to get it done, and be accountable. And if we don't get it done, why didn't we get it done? Okay, so and what can we do if there's a roadblock or something? What can we do so that we're successful next week? Okay, if there's a roadblock, how do we get around that so that we're successful?
Yeah, I find
those are the main things.
Yeah, I agree. I find a couple of interesting things. Number one is that I think there's a very fine line between coaching and psychotherapy in some people's cases. So I think that's something that we need to pay attention to in doing this, number one. Number two, I find a lot of people, and you brought this up, Wayne, previously, which I think is really true, and that is a lot of people don't know what business they're even in. They have an idea, but they haven't sat down and narrowed it down. And sometimes I'll say to my clients, look, I know what your business is, and I don't even understand what you just said. So if I don't understand what you just said, how is a client going to know that they should be working with you? You have not put it together enough that you could say to somebody, this is what I do, and this is what's in it for you. Because in marketing, it's all about what's in it for them, not what's in it for you. And one of the biggest mistakes I see is everyone's selling about what's they're about, but not what the value is for the other person that's doing that. So I think it's very interesting. And the last piece I always think of advice is that I always give people that I work with is mellow out. Don't be so crazed about every little. Some people get frustrated at the drop of a hat. Oh, I can't believe this is going to be so. I don't think it's like they make themselves nuts, and you almost have to like calm them down a little bit. Crazy. It's an interesting business, and I think everyone has attention deficit, so I think you got that nailed down. I think everyone needs therapy, so I think you got that nailed down. So you've already nailed down a big audience.
Well, I make sure I refer out for the therapy piece, because I can't do everything, nor do I want to do everything.
Exactly.
If fear or anxiety is getting in the way, they need to take care of that before they can move ahead with me, getting stuff done.
Totally agree. I
Well,
totally agree.
I think that you brought up some really great points, and I'm just gonna kind of, sum it all up here. I think most people don't understand that they don't need to reinvent the wheel. A lot of the products and services they need, surprise, surprise, have already been created, and that's what somebody else specializes in. So, I'm not going to go if I needed therapy. I'm not going to go to the local butcher because that's not their
Right.
specialty. I'm going to go to a therapist. That's what they specialize in. Something that health providers seem to miss the boat on often is that if you need marketing, if you need coaching, if you're looking for different programs, don't do this on your own. That's not your specialty. Go to the people that this is what they do. So I think that's really important to notice. I think when you said you have to invest in your business, that's also something Dr. Allen and I talk about this all the time. Healthcare providers really fall short on. They don't understand, and maybe it's because it's not taught in schools. Maybe it is now, but 100 years ago, when we all went to school, it wasn't taught that you have to invest in your business. That's part of your expenses, just like paying your rent or your mortgage on your building and paying your electric bill. The same thing holds true, and as much as most of us don't want to admit that this is an element, as Wayne said very eloquently, you have to carve out time, and there has to be time just for marketing. Whatever that is that you're working on, whether part of that is for your internet marketing and doing posts in various social media, whether it's doing a community health program, so you're following the tasks that we have you do, if it's going out into the community and meeting with people so they get a chance to meet with you, all of this are pieces of the marketing puzzle, and you can't say I don't have time. Because if you don't have time to market, then effectively what you're saying is you don't have time to grow your business. And that doesn't make any sense. So every time you say I don't have time to do marketing, think that you're saying I don't want to make any money. Because that's kind of what it comes down to really when we sum it up. And be accountable. Hold yourself accountable. You should have a coach, a mentor, a mastermind group, just something that when you check in with that week, there's something expected of you that you should have completed. And that's really important. We all need to be accountable on some level. Even if it's your kid sitting at a soccer field waiting for you to pick them up, well, you got to be accountable to be there to pick them up. So in business, it's the same thing. You need, most of us, I think it's a very rare breed that don't need someone to keep them accountable. So I think those are all amazing points, and to really, take to heart, and nothing that we all haven't heard, but sometimes we need to hear it again, and we really need to listen. So I'm going to give Wayne 60 seconds to kind of tie up a little bit, and he can also tell us about this online event that they're having. It's an online event or an actual in-person seminar?
No, it's an online event. It's a webinar series. We call it a marketing certificate program. So it's 8 weeks, and we talk about everything from email marketing to using your website online to e-newsletters, how to network, relationship building. There's so many different visioning for your ideal practice. So there's a lot of different components of it. There's the homework between class, which is essentially getting things done, and then we spend time discussing what you were able to achieve between sessions. So it starts this Saturday, the 20th, and it'll be at noon Eastern Time for an hour for 8 weeks. And anybody who is listening to this or attended this webinar will get 10% rebate on the price of the webinar. So it's very exciting. We're doing this in conjunction with Therapy Online in Canada, and I can give you the URL if people want that. You could either put it on your site. It's on my privatepracticehelper.com site as well.
Okay, and go to privatepracticehelper.com and get that information.
Yeah.
Well, actually, while Dr. Allen has a slide with your phone number on it where people.
Yeah, they can call me.
Oh, there you go.
Well,
But that one, and they can call you and get that other information. Well, I am going to tie us up for today. We actually ran a little bit over, and I really want to thank Wayne. I just muted you again because we're getting reverb from you. I want to thank Wayne for it's been really nice having a chance to get to know you. Wayne and I are a perfect example of social media networking at its finest. And we're glad that he took time to be here today. It's always insightful, and we love bringing people from different professions together. Even though it's interesting, we always usually hear the similar challenges with that we all face. But also remember, if you're watching this live and you want more information about our programs, please reach out, and we'll schedule a complimentary consultation. We'll take a look at all the stuff you're doing and show you how some of the programs we have might either enhance what you're doing or really give you those steps to move forward. And if you're watching this on a replay, you're going to see a live link that you can click on to schedule some time with us. And I am going to turn it over to Dr. Allen to close us out for this week's Hangout.
You've been listening to Building Your Wellness Brand Within Your Community. I'm Dr. Alan Weinstein with my co-host, Dr. Randi Ross. Today's episode is brought to you by Epic Consulting, making sure your electronic presence is all it needs to be, and Community Wellness Day. Every great opportunity begins with the first step. Take that step with Community Wellness Day. And the System, the official marketing program of healthcare professionals everywhere, and the VIP app, the only applications that allow you to bring your live hangouts just like this one to the desktop, iPhone, iPad, and Samsung Android devices of everybody out there. On behalf of myself, Dr. Alan Weinstein, on behalf of Wayne Kessler and Dr. Randi Ross, we'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you next week.